Episode 22. This is more than a wellness chat. It's a wake-up call for the industry to finally prioritize people alongside productivity. Hey, and welcome back to Logistics at a Crossroads. I'm Gia. And let's talk about burnout and the toll. In logistics, the pressure is constant. We talk about output and deadlines, but there's an unseen cost. Many of us operate at a pace that leaves us mentally and physically drained. So let's talk numbers. Studies show that burnout rates are climbing across industries. But for those in logistics, the stakes are higher. You're working with deadlines that don't really budge on teams that are getting smaller while demand is only rising. The pressure is compounded with the mental load of having to track shipments, coordinating between departments, and constantly adjusting schedules to meet the ever-changing demands of supply chain. Think about this. Over 70% of logistics professionals report burnout. Yet, how much of that is truly discussed in our workplaces? How often do we really talk about how long hours on the road, in a warehouse, or an office can affect the person behind the task? Now, what if you could be more proactive? What if burnout wasn't the inevitable byproduct of working hard, but instead a problem we actively address? Think about the last time you heard a manager say, "We're not just looking at numbers, we're looking at the team behind the numbers." That's something worth working toward. We've all felt it. The weight that goes beyond the physical toll. Sure, we've been on our feet all day, stuck in a truck for hours, stuck at a desk. But let's talk about the mental exhaustion. The kind of fatigue where you don't just need a nap, you need a reset. Here's a thought. Burnout isn't just exhaustion. It's a disconnection. We might physically be present, but emotionally, we start to fade away. And here's where it gets more complicated. It's not just the individual who suffers, but their relationships. When you're burnt out, you miss milestones, events, time with your family, and this adds another layer, the guilt. Guilt that you're not showing up for your loved ones. When was the last time you took a moment for yourself? Just for your own mental well-being. Too often, we feel guilty for doing so. So let's challenge that guilt. It's okay to put your health first. Look, if you're caring for others, whether that be your parents, your children, animals, or anyone or anything that relies on you, those days off become someone else's agenda. That need to care for others often becomes more pressing than caring for yourself. Let's take a minute and ask ourselves, what would happen if for just one day, we said, I need to take care of me? Would you feel selfish? Would you even feel human? Because shift work in logistics is a double-edged sword. Yes, those hours might seem more flexible, but those 3 a.m. alarms, they're not so glamorous. How many of us wake up to the sound of a clock ticking, knowing that the day will demand everything and then some? Because logistics work isn't a 9-to-5 job, but it should still come with respect for rest. Let's think about that. When was the last time your manager, your supervisor, took a moment and actually checked in on how you're really doing? because the culture expectation is to push through. It's deeply ingrained in logistics. We've all heard the phrase, everyone's tired. But shouldn't we be acknowledging that fatigue, mental, emotional, and physical? It's 2025. Some things have to change. And what happens when we fail to recognize that exhaustion? It catches up, and it hits harder the longer we ignore it. By no means am I suggesting we stop moving freight, because the world would stop. What I'm asking is, how can we move the freight without moving ourselves to burnout? And here's how we do it. We take a step forward. Employers, managers, leaders, it's time to redefine how we approach burnout. And one key that I want to stress is burnout isn't just a personal issue. It's a business issue, because when employees are burnt out, their work suffers and it puts more stress on the others around them. Deadlines are missed, productivity drops, and morale is non-existent. And here's where we need to start. Recognize the burnout cycle, and it is truly a cycle. It's not about offering more time off. It's about recognizing when your team needs real recovery time. Because don't assume that time off means real rest. We start implementing real work-life balance. Flexibility isn't just a talking point. It's a commitment. We need to start building structures that allow employees to reset without guilt. We need to create supportive environments. Everybody talks about workplace culture, but we need to start building one that invites vulnerability. And it will see better results. We need to be able to walk into our manager's office and say, I need help, without the fear of judgment, because that is a priceless gift. And we need to start being transparent with true expectations. Acknowledge the realities of your workforce. If you're asking your team to work a demanding shifts, recognize that they can't give 100% all the time. You've got to plan for rest in that shift, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. And remember this, listen before the people break down. Check in with your team. Ask how they're doing. And when they respond, start to act on it. Don't push it off. Burnout is something that can be addressed before it spirals out of control. It's time we start to have real conversations about burnout in logistics. For far too long, we've treated it like a badge of honor. Pushing through, ignoring our limits. But pushing through isn't the same as thriving. We have the opportunity to change that narrative. We can and should create a logistics environment where taking care of the people behind the freight is as important as moving the freight itself. Taking care of your people doesn't just keep them happy. It keeps your business sustainable. And after all, we can't move freight if our team is burnt out. We can't meet deadlines if morale is drained. So let's start acknowledging burnout as the issue it is, and let's fix it. One shift, one conversation, one policy at a time. Until next time, keep showing up, keep holding the line, and remember, you're not alone in navigating these crossroads. I'm right there with you.